It was like the ads, the billboards themselves have like a weird 20% of them. And it was like the ads are doubling as like ads for the offer, but also for AI because it's telling everybody, hey, you can replace your workers. And they're just like, wait.
Okay.
Did you see how the right here?
Is there anything else I
How
know?
David was like,
You guys not monster and that has like sense to make things so. Yeah.
92. Okay, how many did you get?
175,000.
Actually,
30,000. Yeah.
okay, but like I don't understand like how I only got 92 because I listened to like Spotify like in my sleep. Like yeah, I guess not. I thought I did. That's crazy. Do you do like mute? Abby, what was your Spotify minutes? 20,000. 20,000?
Yeah, it's not, that's another good.
I listen to music a lot because I listen to a lot at work. But I was weird. I don't know what happened. Do you listen to it in the car? Huh? You listen to it in the car? I do, which is weird, but I usually like I don't know. I kind of hop on and off, hop off. I can't speak what you're saying. I know. It's been a rough day. Yeah. I think last year I got like over 100, so this year was a bit of a disappointment.
I'm still
You like listen to it like every single minute of the day. Kind of crazy.
I'm looking for them, except here because you don't mind.
I think when I was actually living on campus, my minutes were a lot higher because I do walking around campus. Yeah. Honestly, yeah, once I started being like a commuter student, like I would always just park near my building. And like it's literally minimal, so like I don't even need to like walk in or so it's just like I also lost my AirPods, so that like also just like doubled on to like why I don't listen to music. That's so sad. I know. I also wanted to get some during Black Friday, but then I forgot. So
Steve Blaze.
that's fair. Are you like his number one listener then?
I got like 17,000 alone. I don't believe you listen to that Steve Blaze one.
Yeah, no one is. Because you brought it.
How much you know?
I think my class was so easy. I'm doing. I have to do it also. So much time was off here.
That's how like, that's how I went to my special education class. I haven't done anything.
Do you like a certain number? Why is there a 70%? Well, because I took music at people on summer too.
I did.
I did.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so sure. I did not actually.
Oh, okay, now. I was gonna say.
I do not have to.
Just see here. Commissioner, I guess. Meaning that, where's Sarah, it's a short meeting. Oh, yeah, about sending to the, that's just the internet connections to.
Yeah.
This is, hold on. That's nice.
Good.
The lady actually sent me, so that's the house. And hopefully when I'm going to have that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just-
This is from you to see guys go.
New space.
Actually, I forgot about my, what's it called? What's that class called? I can't remember. Wait, why can't I remember what it's called? For high nutrition.
Oh,
That class, I love that teacher.
I did it online. And I did everything.
Last minute.
That's exactly what we did last week.
And you look it up with the.
Right. Like for this, I did the voice tracks. So I don't have to type. So I'm gonna get it done right now. I have a question.
Teresa. Oh.
It's great.
It's like my little hair.
I have practice.
What?
It's not well spaced, is it? The room.
You're good.
Good night, guys. Let's go. Go and put some around. Like, who can call that? You think this is good?
Yeah.
I don't get how we're supposed to go on these, but I never said any speakers out of that.
Yeah. Jails, jails.
Just got that.
Just do whatever you want. Do whatever you want.
Oh, I thought you were saying it's like.
Okay. Another promise.
I love my philosophy teacher. Be an A minus.
Oh my gosh, everybody. Yeah, everybody.
It's good.
I don't know.
I thought you meant mid. No, and then midweek.
Thumbs up. Thumbs up.
Oh, you don't.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I need a thumbs up. Okay. Okay. The meeting has been called to order for the Student Senate Business Meeting, December 5th. For the Student Senate, our Director of Administration, Kelly Gonzalez, will be doing roll call.
Regent Adida,
Here.
Vice President Ramirez,
Here.
Chief Ostick,
Here.
Director Lysy,
Here.
Director Lasso, Director Mai, Director Hammond, Coordinator Irizarry Gums,
Here.
Senator El Roxy,
Here.
Senator Norby,
Here.
Senator Jimenez Avalos,
Here.
Senator Calderon Palacios,
Here.
Senator Benitez, Senator John,
Here.
Senator Brady, Senator Gomez, Senator Hirschbaum Harding,
Here.
Senator Smith. Oh. Senator Rangel,
Here.
Senator Wong,
Here.
Senator Rye,
Here.
Senator Valladares,
Here.
Senator Piper,
Here.
Senator Lopez, Senator Meister, Ambassador El Rife,
Here.
Ambassador Aishide.
Our first item of business is reading and approval of old minutes. Is there any changes to the previous minutes? Before we go on to new business. If there's no discussion, now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor, just say aye.
Aye.
And then all those opposed, say no. Okay, in the opinion of the chair, the old minutes have been approved. Okay, so now our next item of business is approval of the agenda. I am seeking a motion to strike Senator Brooklyn as I use a old roll call just to create the agenda. So I need, if someone is able to make that motion to strike Senator Brooklyn.
Senator?
Yeah.
Could you repeat the senator's name?
Oh, Senator Brooklyn.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's like on the roll call. Senator Hirsch from hiding.
I motion to strike section U, Senator Brooklyn.
Is there a second? Senator Brady, is there a discussion? And then now I'm just like seeking unanimous consent to strike Senator Brooklyn. Is there any dissent? Okay. In the opinion of the chair, Senator Brooklyn has been struck from the agenda. Senator Meister?
Just a note,
Yes.
further like textual revisions like that to the agenda, especially if they're just relating to the role.
Yeah.
Just be stricken without a motion usually.
Oh, no
as long as
motion.
it's not
Alright.
consideration of-
Oh, okay. Thank you for the information. Okay. Is there any additional changes to the agenda? No. Okay, if there's no further discussion, now we're on to a period of voting, and then all those in favor say aye,
Aye.
and then all those opposed say nay. In the opinion of the chair, the agenda has been approved. Okay, our next item of business is open forum. Is there anyone here for open forum? Please come. And then I will put the picture up. Here it is. Okay. Okay.
Hello? Okay, hello, I'm Elahi. I'm the president of the Sandwich Club. You can see here. To SGA, the general student body, and campus administration, I cordially invite you to our Sandwich Christmas. No, this is not a joke. Write this down. Please come to the Milo Bell Food Court at 2:30 p.m. on December 18th. Please write it down right now because while you can find this event here on MapSync, It'll probably be brought down in the next couple of business days because we will be sharing food. Bring your own food as well as friends and food to share among your friends. This food will take place over finals, so I hope you're all able to take time for a late lunch in protest of the food regulations. I also encourage you to follow Sandwich Club on Instagram, where I will soon post an invitation to this potluck. I hope that nobody snitches on our potluck. All hail the sandwich. Thank you.
Is there anyone else here for open forum? And I did want to show you guys what Director Lacey has made. He has confirmed the SABC dates for next year. So this is what's going to be happening for the spring semester in February. So yeah, I can share you guys the date on the email. So I can do that right now. Do you guys have any questions for SABC dates for next semester? No. Yes. And is there anyone here for open forum before we close open forum? Okay, awesome. Okay, so in opinion of the chair, open forum is closed. Okay. So for our next item of business is the State of Student Government Association address. Are you ready, Sean? Yeah, okay. Definitely let you have the stage.
Hi, can everyone hear me? Oh, wait, yeah, it definitely is on. Okay, so we can get started. Thank you all for being here. I know it's our last Senate business meeting of the semester, and I'm wishing you all the best when it comes to finals week. And I hope you guys all take a restful break this winter break. This is something novel we're doing. Last year, Rules Committee approached SGA exec and asked to do a state of SGA to better ensure that we are being more transparent about what we're doing, really highlight some of the things that we've done and continue the great success that SGA has had and continue the momentum. I know this year or this semester has been really, really, really rough with a lot of highs and lows, but it's important to recognize that we do amazing work and we continue to advocate for the student body. So here are a couple highlights from our semester. So the first one we launched in August. It's the MAP bike program. We implemented $5 bike passes for all UNO students. In August and September alone, over 300 bike passes were redeemed. And because of this and because of the MAP bike program, UNO has become the busiest bike share stations in all of Omaha. So we have really impacted sustainability in the state of Nebraska, and especially being in a metro area, we should all feel really proud of ourselves. And a lot of this credit, I will admit, goes to Nate Osdick, our chief of staff. He's been championing this for 3 years. That is crazy. Everyone should give him a big round of applause. And you should feel really proud of yourself, Nate. The next one is the Student Government Wellness Assessment. So, Student Wellness Coordinator Carlos Izeri Gums started a survey and assessed how student government leaders or student organization leaders feel about SGA and how effective they were for advocating on behalf of them. And as the results show through Carlos's survey, we were not doing too well in our representation and our advocacy for the student body. But because of this, we passed SR 2425-10 for consistent communication with the student body, and we've launched 2 initiatives. The first one is the Friends of SGA newsletter. I hope in November you all received a newsletter that essentially talked about SGA, some resolutions we passed, a little bit about our agencies and introducing our members. I want to give credit to Brian and Anthony for really championing this initiative. Without your work and dedication, this would not have happened. And I really do commend you guys for being a part of this and really ensuring that we are being transparent and reaching out to our student body. And these are going to continue to happen. Obviously, with December and finals and everything, we aren't going to do one for this month, but be on the lookout for January. It'll be fun. And then obviously in spring 2025, we're going to continue to do more outreach work with our students and ensure that they are aware of student government. The next one is an initiative that I championed. It's the Registered Student Organization Council. So in November, we met with over 20 student organization presidents to collaborate on student issues and find various solutions. And the issues that were brought up were the Sodexo food policy, financial aid, and the shuttle app. So next steps include assigning issues to our Senate committees to tackle during the spring semester, and additionally, continuing to host these monthly meetings to solicit more feedback and to ensure that we are being held accountable for our meetings. And I have communicated this with UNO senior administration, so they are aware, and we're working with them to ensure that we can make the student body a better place. The next one is the Messages of Love event. So in Durango Days, Senator Rye and Calderon Palacios hosted the Messages of Love event during Durango Days, and it was really successful. We had over 100 attendees. People wrote notes of love, inspiration, and success to start off the good year, or to start off the new year strong. The next one is the Student Resource Guide. So this is something we've been championing through SGA Exec. Director Mai and Coordinator Gums have been working on this. And essentially, we are creating a centralized hub for all student resources. We are almost done with our first draft, and in spring 2025, we're going to deploy it on our SGA platforms, and we're working with UNO admissions and UNO curriculum to integrate it into all campus curriculum. So I want to show you a sneak peek of where we're at. Yeah, so here is emotional wellness. As you can see, we have a list of the resources, and these click to the specific UNO links, which I think is super cool. We have 3 different pages. Yeah, so that's a sneak peek of our draft. We still are formatting the rest of it. Oh, let's see. Perfect. Let me just go back. Oh, sorry. But yeah, that's something we've been working on, and we're really excited about all the progress we've made and excited to continue championing this throughout the rest of the year. The next amazing thing that we've done is the candidate forum. I want to give all our credit to the agencies. They made this happen. If you guys have been following the 2024 election season, Nebraska, specifically Omaha, played a huge role in voter registration and voter advocacy, and our agencies took the initiative to plan a candidate forum. We had 2 U.S. Senator candidates, 3 State Board of Education candidates, and 3 state legislature candidates connect with around 30 students to talk about their platforms and what they want to advocate for if they are elected. And not only was this a successful event, we actually got Washington journalists come to the Thompson Alumni Center to cover it. And this is a partnership with the UNO Civic Engagement Office. And we also had lots of nonprofits tabling at the event and getting students to register to vote. The next one is the Academic Resource Survey. I hope you guys all partook in this. I think I was pushing it pretty heavily. Our target for this was 200, and we actually received 297 responses. And this was definitely a group effort. This wouldn't have happened if you didn't push it out to your friends, your classmates, and really took the time to recommend this for your fellow students to fill out. Additionally, we hosted an energy break with SGA event where if you filled out the survey, you received an energy drink, and we got over 96 students to attend that. And we just finished the report and sent it over to the Senior Vice Chancellor for review. So they are looking at it right now, and hopefully we can set up a time with them in the spring semester to discuss and deliberate how we can actively integrate our recommendations onto campus. So some insights gained from this was that students are aware of resources, they just don't know how to access them. So our recommendations looked at how can we reduce that barrier of accessibility. So the first one was leveraging student ambassadors and social media to spread awareness. The second one was investigating accessibility of scheduling appointments. Many students reported broken electronic portals, lack of information on websites. So our next recommendation is updating resource website information on an annual basis and continuing to audit that. And then shout out to Senator Valladares and Outreach Committee for really championing this. So library hours have officially been extended for the fall 2024 semester for prep week and finals week. So for weekdays, you can stay in the library from 7 a.m. to 1 a.m. Then for weekends, you can stay in the library from 12 p.m. to 1 a.m. If it weren't for SGA directly advocating to Dean Richards, the dean of the library, this would not have happened. So I really want to commend you guys for all the great work you've done this year and really championing this initiative and getting an actionable solution implemented by the end of the semester. And on top of that, I know Senator Hirschbaum Harding has indicated that they're working on a 24/7 feasibility for access and more permanent solutions. So TBD on that. The next initiative I want to talk about is Traffic Appeals Commission. I don't know if you know this, but for all the new senators out there, Traffic Appeals Commission has not been active in over 4 years. And the fact that we have three commissioners, Zach, Cole, and Haroon, to be commissioners is a great step in ensuring that SGA becomes more engaged with the student body. In November alone, they deliberated on 36 appeals, and they're actually meeting tomorrow to deliberate over 50+ appeals. So they are hard at work ensuring that students have their parking tickets heard and appealed. The next commissioner or committee I want to talk about is student court. So Dylan Freeman, one of our court justices, is actually graduating in super soon, December 2024. So I just want to say a quick congrats to her. She has been on student court for 2 years and has done amazing work. And throughout this year, student court has assessed over 40+ appeals during fall, which is a lot. I mean, I know I've submitted a couple, so. And then the next commission I want to talk about is First Year Leadership Commission. I was first year leadership, director of leadership development last year. So I can really relate to the recruitment process, and I had a really tough time recruiting. But this year, Sarah had a very successful recruitment process with over 30+ applications, where she had to sort through, and 15 commissioners were selected out of the competitive application process. So hats off to her. I know that was really tough, especially over summer alone with very little campus engagement. And throughout the semester, she's done amazing work by hosting professional development workshops, social bonding events, and ensuring that commissioners feel connected to UNO's campus. And recently, they've been working on finalizing details for the FYLC service event. On TBD on that, I've heard that it's going to be a really fun event, and we should all go and support her and FYLC commissioners and check it out when it comes. Now moving on to our agencies have done amazing work throughout the semester. The first agency I want to highlight is QTS and their JAC show. They hosted the 3rd annual JAC show this year, and over 140 people attended. And they also raised around $480 for Omaha for Us, an LGBTQ community center in Omaha. And their impact has shown throughout this JAC show. And oh my gosh, the image on my left are the QTS members and the JAC queens. The next organization I want to highlight is AMS. They actually do a reading circle, liberation reading circle, where they talk about different books from multicultural authors. The first book that they read was Freedom is a Constant Struggle, and the second book that they read is The Future is Disabled: Prophecies, Love, Notes, and Mourning. And these are the AMS members and general members reading books and partaking in this circle. For WGEC, they actually did a series of workshops in collaboration with Students for Justice Palestine. They hosted 3 workshops and made t-shirts. The workshops were Art for Awareness, storyteller Willie Massey, and storyteller Abed Serhan. And if you weren't able to partake, don't worry. January 2nd, 2025, there's going to be a t-shirt display up in the Chris Library. So definitely go check it out. If you guys live in Omaha over winter break, you should definitely stop by. The next agency I want to talk about is NDA. They are actually doing an accessibility survey to investigate how accessibility services is and how accessible UNO is. So they're actually partnering with accessibility surveys and SLII to deploy the push out. And this has actually been championed by NDA member Ella Stephens. And in spring 2025, in February, they're hoping to roll out the survey as well as recruit more members for their agency. For FGSA, they had a bracelet making event called Mal de Ojo, and it's a cultural-based workshop to celebrate during Hispanic Heritage Month. And they presented a presentation about its significant impact and made bracelets to celebrate the first generation community. And then lastly, I want to give all the credit to Teresa and Chloe for finding an ISS director. I know we had a couple of appointments slated at the beginning of the year that didn't work through, but we finally found one. And I think that in and of itself is a win. They can get started on planning international banquet. And after speaking with Jose, he mentioned that he's looking to implement more social engagement workshops like a board game night. And lastly, I wanted to touch on the audit. I know that's been on everyone's minds recently, but we should all be really proud of ourselves and standing strong with what SGA does and how we support our agencies. We've successfully managed to create awareness about defunding our agencies and receive tons of campus and community support. And we should feel really proud of the work that we've done in order to advocate for ourselves and what we do. So I wanted to let you guys know of a couple of dates that have passed and some dates that are going to come up in regards to the audit. The first one is we discussed potential solutions. We drafted a Board of Regents policy amendment. We've discussed the audit response and sort of drafted an interim plan. And then upcoming, we're actually going to finalize the audit response and get some updates on the interim plan. So hopefully we can access our money soon. We're just waiting. And yeah, I just want to say thank you all so much for your support and advocacy this semester. I know it's been a long semester, but we've done so many great things. And I hope next semester we continue to be amazing advocates and continue to do even more things. I appreciate all of you. Thank you.
So thank you, Ashani, for the presentation. And since we have no unfinished business, now we're up to new business. And then for the appointment of the Student Publication Board, Aileen Arco, is she here? For appointment? Oh, okay. Okay, is that a motion?
No, you can just.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'll definitely do that for unfinished business for next time. Okay, so our,
Think it'd be about
yeah,
that.
does anyone want to table, is the senator willing to table the appointment of the Student Publication Board for next business meeting due to them not being here? Senator Piper,
Yeah.
table it, okay, is there a second? Senator, seconded by Senator Calderon Palacios. Now, is there a period of discussion? To table the Student Publication Board? Senator Benitez?
Ever like something or anything?
I didn't receive any information. Let me double check. No, I have not received anything. No. Is there any further discussion on the candidate? Okay, awesome. Now, if there's no further discussion, now we're on to a period of voting to table the appointments. All those in favor, please raise your placards. And then all those opposed, please raise your placards. Okay, in the opinion of the chair, the appointment has been tabled for next business meeting. Okay, so our next appointment will be the Election Commission for Caden Martin. Is there a proponent speech?
Yeah.
No, okay. This one's the. Yeah. Okay, this one should work.
All right. Can y'all hear me? Oh. Yo, Hey, all, got a little proponent speech I gotta read, so. Senators, I appreciate your time and I'll make my proponent speech short. While I see a lot of familiar faces, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Caden Murrin and I am currently a junior in architectural engineering with a focus on mechanical systems. I have served as a College of Engineering senator during the 2023-2024 academic year on which I served on the Budget and Outreach Committee. I've also been involved on leadership committees for the Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers, Latinos for STEM, and served as a lead peer coach for the Engineering Readiness Academy. In my free time, I enjoy watching hour-long YouTube videos on niche topics, playing D&D with my friends, and finding good barbecue places to try when I move down to KC this summer. I will cut to the chase. The reason I wish to be on the election commission is for the 2025 student government election is simple. I want a nice, smooth, and transparent election. During my time as a student government senator, I was actively following the 2024 election. Without elaborating on it, it seems that the main issue stemmed from a lack of transparency and communication between parties that led to a holdup in the 2024 election results being posted. I see running an election like coaching a football team. You need to let your team know when they mess up. As an election commissioner, I will push for candidates to know the policy index sections that pertain to what they want to run for and how they can campaign. In the event that a complaint is written, I plan to be unbiased and only consider the facts. I have also been reviewing the election rules from both the policy index and the bylaws to ensure I have a complete understanding of what is being asked of me. I will also be willing to keep a binder on me at most times of the day with those sections in it. Another promise I hope to keep good on as an election commissioner is the ability to host events including town halls, debates, and most importantly, polling booths on both Scott and Dodge campuses through collaborations with established student organizations. I believe partnering with other student organizations allows us to both benefit the election by getting the word out and allowing candidates to meet potential voters. Finally, I plan on trying to raise the number of voters who vote in this election. On a generous estimate, I believe we could raise that number to the current number to about by 3 to 5%. That is it for my proposed speech. I will now move to questions and answers. Cool.
There's no further
Yay.
questions.
All right.
Now we're on to a period of discussion. Is there any discussion for election commissioner Hayden? Senator Hirschbaum Harding?
Thank you.
Yeah, I've worked a lot with Caden because he was previously in student government and he was in my committee. I think he shows a really admirable commitment to the work that he does. He's very thorough, he's very methodical, he's really passionate about what he does. He was very focused on the commission, on the election last year, even as someone who wasn't an election commissioner. He's very mindful about how things affect the student body. And I think he's also has a real penchant for rules. He loved learning about the rules and being able to integrate that into the way that we have functioned. And I think that he's a really good fit for this commission.
Is there any further discussion? If there's no further discussion, now we're on to your period of voting. All those in favor, please raise your placards. And then all those opposed, please raise your placards. In the opinion of the chair, Caden has been appointed for election commission. For our next item of business is the appointment for SABC Senate Commissioner Aditi Rai. Is there a proponent speech?
Hey everyone, my name is Aditi and I stand before you to be considered for SABC Commissioner. I believe my experiences and dedication to SGA to improving student life experience make me fit right for this role. I'm heavily involved in the campus beyond SGA. In my own college, I'm on the Student Advisory Board, where I work with students and admin to address issues that are present at college. I've worked on projects that require very careful planning consideration. I'm committed to listening and advocating for what the students need. And throughout my involvement with Indian Student Association, Explorer Bio Club, and many other clubs that I frankly do not have the time to list, I gave insights into the different needs of our campus community. In addition, I hold the chief officer position in 2 international nonprofits, and these positions have taught me how to manage resources efficiently, collaborating with others, and making decisions that align with broader goals. I also know through my roles how important it is for funding to support initiatives that will improve student experience, and I will work hard to ensure that if I do that tonight, if it points it tonight. I'm confident that my experience, dedication, and ability to collaborate will allow me to serve efficiently on SABC. Thank you for considering me for this opportunity, and I will take any questions. Yes.
In response to a lot of the questions we've had this year about further stewardship of Fund Day following the audit and its responses, what are ways through your participation in SABC that you would try to help reassure the student body that we're focused on utilizing our finances to align with student priorities? How would you approach this?
I think the first step is understanding what they need. I think that requires a lot of communication, and being transparent on what our limitations are will definitely allow us to allocate funds in a manner that benefits them. Any other questions? Yeah.
Because you're someone who has a lot of really commendable involvement with a lot of the organizations that we have on campus, how do you view your balance between trying to view it as a Senate commissioner and then view it as someone who's a member of the student body and someone who's involved? How do you find that balance, and how do you ensure that you're going to be as why can't I think of the word objective as possible when making your decisions? Sorry, my brain is working real slowly tonight.
Yeah. It's a definitely good question. As a chief officer, I've realized that you need to draw boundaries somewhere. Being part of these organizations gave me a clear understanding of what those needs are, but I also understand that when I'm looking at funds, I need to be very focused on what these funds will go towards and draw a line saying, this is where these funds need to go, and my biases can't get in the way for that.
Is there any further questions? Now we're on to a period of discussion. Is there any discussion for the candidates? For the good lady?
So I work alongside Aditi in the rules committee, and let me tell you, she is a very thorough individual, but she previously mentioned, she does know to draw the boundaries and know where to keep her school life and her personal life very even and very well balanced. But even alongside that, with her drawing boundaries, she also is very dedicated to her work. She knows exactly what their role intends, and I feel like in this position she'll do exactly that.
Would like to expand on that. So I've done a lot of projects with Senator Rai, and she always thinks about the best interest of the student body. How can we improve for the student body as senators? And what we can do to make them feel comfortable. Also, she always does things on time, so we don't have to worry about her not being responsible. And she's extremely passionate and she'll do whatever she can to find more information to expand upon. For example, when me and Senator I have gone to Board of Regents just to find out what's happening at a new system level.
Is there any further discussion? If there's no further discussion, now we're on to your period of voting. All those in favor, please raise your placards. And then for SCBC commissioners, it will require a 2/3 majority vote. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then all those opposed, please raise your placards. Okay. In the opinion of the chair, Aditi has been appointed for SCBC Senate Commissioner. For our next item of appointment is SABC Senator Commissioner Dalton Meister. Is there a proponent speech?
Hi, can you hear me all okay? Okay. Pleasure to be speaking to you all today. My name is Dalton Meister. My pronouns are he, him, his, and I stand before you today to express my interest in the position of Student Activities Budget Commissioner as a Senate representative on the Student Activities Budget Commission, and the opportunity it would provide for me to continue to serve students and the community at UNO. I previously had the opportunity to serve on the commission twice as a senator and once as the chair when a previous term as director of finance. And in these experiences, I became intimately familiar not only with the organization and its financial policies, but also opportunities for that organization and the specific fund day process to serve as a vehicle for effecting change on campus for students and articulating student priorities through our financial policies, protocols, procedures, and approaches. If I were to summarize some of the things I've learned from these experiences in the past, my takeaways would likely represent a series of philosophical positions that I think help to elevate a student-centered, fiscally responsible, and inclusive financial policy for a student government, positions that I hope I could center in my efforts as a senator and as an SABC commissioner if you should select me. Things that I find to be very important for our approach to student government as it relates to our finances are inclusive financial prioritization, designing financial policies that reflect the diverse needs of the entire student population, including first-generation students, international students, underrepresented student groups, and those from varying socioeconomic backgrounds, making sure that this can be a space that everybody can access and have the opportunity to participate in, while also conducting regular assessments to ensure budgets address transparent concerns and current and emerging priorities. The next is transparency and participatory budgeting, creating an environment where we can foster transparency by publishing detailed budgets and expenditures on any activities that we engage in, creating avenues for widespread student input through open forums, surveys, representative committees, and ensuring that all student voices are heard in our decision-making about finances. Equitable resource allocation, including the development of funding criteria to emphasize equity while also ensuring that our resources reach underrepresented student groups and support broad-based initiatives that may benefit the majority of the student body in any way that we can. Making sure that we have our own internal controls and oversight so that we are not operating without due process, due course, or the opportunity to receive student feedback, and establishing robust financial oversight mechanisms, including clear approval processes, opportunities for us to internally audit ourselves, and accountability structures. And that way we can empower students to participate in oversight of us as a student government, fostering trust and ensuring that funds are used responsibly and that they are centered around students. Flexible and responsive policies to build adaptability into the financial policy of our organization by changing it to reflect student needs and economic conditions of the moment, say namely, for example, the recent COVID-19 pandemic and how we had to reorganize our finances to ensure we were meeting student needs in that present time. Focusing on long-term sustainability to invest our time and finances in initiatives that will create lasting benefits, such as funding student organizations, leadership development programs, and campus-wide improvements. One, for example, might be the MAV Bike, previous MAV Ride, and/or conversations relating to the student newspaper or more largely student legal services. Finally, education and transparency, providing opportunities for the student body to understand how their funds are being managed and allocated and then being spent on their behalf, as these funds are coming from student fees and we're responsible to the students who are paying for them. I think this approach is one that's centered on ensuring our financial policies are inclusive, forward-thinking, and structured to meet the needs of a diverse student body that we represent. If selected for this role, I think I could bring these skills, strengths, and abilities to bear in our shared efforts to operationalize the resources we have to seek solutions to modern questions of the student experience. The student experiences and the questions that come with it are complex, nuanced, and dynamic, but our work will be ongoing and it will never be done. However, that does not mean that we can't progress and continue to improve the lives and experiences of those we serve. If selected for this role, I would hope to do just that. Thank you for your time and consideration. Any questions? Yes.
How do you believe that funding can be utilized to advance the strategic goals of the university? Like, educating Nebraska and even increasing retention?
I think that Fund Day has a pretty distinct opportunity in that regard. One thing that I've been thinking about and am hoping to pitch to student government once it's a little more thought out is the idea of potentially having some larger survey of the student body that helps to identify key areas that we could utilize to prioritize some of our funding initiatives moving forward. As we're looking towards improvement of the student experience, are there key domains of wellness or educational determinants of like outcomes, like I guess I'd call them like the social determinants of education, for example, how clearly correlative initiatives could have pretty demonstrable, wide-ranging impacts on the student experience, and how we could utilize that survey data or some kind of survey data in order to help to direct how we're utilizing the Fund Day and or through our existing infrastructure in terms of agencies or the student government itself collaborating together to meet some of those priority initiatives so that we could have demonstrable impact by students for students on the student community for years to come. It could help to span out multi-year priorities, different types of large-scale projects and initiatives, and we could begin to have that like proactive approach in terms of participatory budgeting, students defining what needs we need to meet on campus, and then we develop projects and financial initiatives around those needs. Just one possibility.
Is there any further questions? Awesome. Oh. Is there any discussion for our candidates? If there's no discussion, now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor, please raise your placards. And then all those opposed, please raise your placards. In the opinion of the chair, Dalton has been appointed for SABC Senate Commissioner. Our next item of business is the appointment of SABC Senate Commissioner, Dee John. Is there a proponent speech?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Dee Dee. I'm gonna try to keep this relatively short. So I am up here wanting to be considered for the Senate, one of the senator positions for the Student Activities Budget Committee. So as we all know, budgeting is really important, especially for large systems and like governing organizations. It helps in making things more comprehensive, especially when it comes to like planning out financial decisions. It helps with better resource allocations and helps in making sure things are not stagnant. Obviously, things change from year to year and needs of organizations change from year to year, just like needs of students and the student body change from year to year. So really focusing in on budgeting gives a scope for what can be done in the future and future projects and just overall contributing to long-term success. So a big part of being a senator for SCBC is giving the student government perspective, which is something I am ready and really excited to do. It's also a big part of it is also being ready to listen and learn. There are going to be things that we have kind of discussed here in student government, obviously because of the agency defunding that we've all been like a part of and been learning about this semester. But then there's also going to be a lot of things, especially when it comes to more like exact details and specific numbers that I will not have experienced yet. And especially when it comes to like Fund A distribution and just overall, like, again, very specific numbers, things that I'm like ready and willing and excited to learn more about. Throughout the years, both in high school and here in college, I've been really involved. Specifically in high school, I had a lot of executive leadership roles. So I do know a lot about like active listening, just taking in what's being said by people who are presenting or people who are sharing their like knowledge and thoughts and opinions. And just through active listening, I am decently good at just taking in information and really processing that before like giving my advice or giving whatever perspective I have to share. I am currently also in Maverick Productions. So in that sense, I do also hope like that plus the clubs I do here at UNO, I do also hope to give a slightly multifaceted perspective. But just overall, I am ready to listen and absorb new knowledge and hopefully give some valuable insight that'll help to whatever problem solving will come up in SABC. Any questions, concerns? Yes.
I know that you mentioned that you are in Maverick Productions. Do you have like a way that you are prepared to like be ready to be objective about that? Or like, have you like, because you're not you know, that's part of being a Senate commissioner is you're not completely objective about being in student government either. So like, how do you view balancing both of them and just kind of being able to be prepared for that?
I think, well, two things. Like a big part of it will be knowing that Maverick Productions like position is a little bit more secure. Like what we've been going through with the agencies, like Maverick Production doesn't really have to worry about that. So in that sense, it's less like advocating that they need done for them. And also in another sense, just like having a hard line of knowing that my position is there for like the overall process and not to really aid one organization or another more so in getting funding or like affecting the numbers that way.
Point of information, if Dee Dee were elected as commissioner, as a member of Maverick Production, she would be unable to vote on that budget. So that's a consideration that she couldn't.
Point of information, I don't think that there's any explicit prohibition, the same way that senators.
Oh, it's just a recommendation?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, I take my point of information. I trust you.
Okay, cool.
Is there any further questions? All right, awesome. Thank you. Is there any discussion on our candidates? Senator Hirschman Harding?
I've known Senator Jean for the last couple years. I think she's always been like a really exemplary person for thinking about things on multiple perspectives. So she's one of the only people that I can confidently like hear that she's this involved with the organizations that are being looked at for Fund A dollars and still trust that she's going to be doing so in a way that I think is very student focused and that is very mindful. And so I trust that she's able to delineate the way that she feels about both of those organizations with more logical pieces of that. And I think she's a wonderful choice for this, and she's a very patient person, and you got to be very patient to be an SABC commissioner, speaking from experience. So I definitely trust that she's a good fit for this.
Is there any other discussion? Senator Meister?
I think something, oh,
I think something that stood out to me was one of the first lines in the senator's speech regarding the idea of listening as the first step in the process of engaging in participation in the commission. I think that similarly from past experiences, as other senators have mentioned, the senator's approach and mindset and philosophy towards how they'll approach commission activities centered around listening and intentionally being present and just trying to better understand and appreciate what students who are coming before the commission are trying to communicate speaks significant volumes about her willingness to participate in the commission in a way that is intentional and just centered around the student experience. So I don't know, that just kind of stuck out listening to the speech and appreciated that.
Is there any further discussion before we go to a period of voting? If there's no further discussion, now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor, please raise your placards. And then all those opposed, please raise your placards. In the opinion of the chair, Dee Dee John has been appointed for SABC Senate Commissioner. Our next item of business is SR 2425-16 Agency Definition Amendment. For point of personal privilege, here is the new resolution, and then I will put the old resolution on the screen too.
I have both, just the new ones on both screens, but different sounds.
The new one on both screens?
Yes, I wanted to highlight the old bylaws and the new ones at the same time.
Oh, okay. So this one is the old one. And then this one will be the new one. Yeah, okay. And then I put the old one on the screen right now.
Hi again. So we are all aware of the audit that's been happening this year regarding student government and the use of Fund A dollars, especially with the purchase and general nature of our student agencies. Part of the audit results and the report was a claim that the agencies do not meet the definition of broad-based that's discussed in the Board of Regents policy section 5.9.2b. And that was one of the main stated reasons of the defunding. So we have come up with the idea of redefining the agency definitions in our bylaws, and we are still in the process, which are still being in the process of being updated. And this would be a very logical next step in disputing these claims and hopefully getting our agencies their funding back. And then as a large in disputing this claim, as a large majority of agency programming and events are very open for all students on campus to attend and are well publicized and promoted by all agencies respectively and exist in order to strengthen the UNO community overall. This redefinition process has been taken up by the executive team with the help of Rules Committee, which we are both a part of.
I'm just going to walk through the old version of the bylaws and the suggested versions. So the original bylaws state that the agency shall operate with the sanction of and on behalf of SGA to serve the interest of the aforementioned populations at UNO. The revised version says that agency shall operate with the sanction of and on behalf of SGA to serve the diverse needs and interests of the UNO student body. The addition of diverse needs and interests is necessary to acknowledge that every student that comes into the university comes in with diverse needs, and the agencies can address those needs to a certain degree. So this ensures that the agencies are recognized as necessary resources for every student and not just specific populations. It also recognizes that the agencies remain relevant in terms of the auditors to the needs of student populations as these student priorities change. I just want to focus on the reason why the term aforementioned populations was not used again was to prevent narrowing down our scope. Again, the revision is to allow the agencies to continue and serve the needs of all students without limiting their role to a specific population and serve the broader community, which is what the auditors are focusing around. Again, the agencies will be able to stick with their original missions, but these changes will be in accordance with the broad-based situation. There is also the addition of this line. All resources, services, and programs provided by the agencies shall be available to every student, to every member of the UNO student body. This line was added to ensure that the agencies continue to serve communities, but also ensures that no one is excluded from the agency resources, even though we know that people are not excluded, without clearly stating that all resources, services, and programs provided by the agency shall be accessible to every member of the UNO student body. There can be misinterpretations that only certain students are allowed to access those resources, and writing this line explicitly ensures that the agencies can be seen as for all students. Any questions?
Less a question, but also just further evidence in support of the resolution authors, I guess, in support of the agencies, and from historical context for the point of this note, the agencies have continually maintained the position that they are accessible for everybody. And this textual element in terms of clarification, to the best of my knowledge, appears to help clarify, and I guess the answer to this could be yes or no, appears to help clarify something that has already been common practice of student government, of its agencies, that it has always been an accessible vehicle for students experiencing the student experience at UNO, regardless of identity and background, and that this is primarily in response to a presumed textual interpretation of the documents that is being utilized to minimize our ability to utilize student funds to support students at this time.
Yes.
Hey. I know that we got an email from Director Bailey about some of the concerns that the agencies had about some of the verbiage that we have in here and how that affects maybe the idea that it isn't blatantly stated that we already believe that the agencies are in line with the Board of Regents policies, but we're just adapting to make it more obvious on like an outside view that we already believe this, and we're just doing this to support the fact that we already think that they're not in violation of the policy. We just are like really covering our bases. Have the updates that Director Bailey suggested been taken into consideration, or are they reflected in this version of the amendment?
Yes, Director Bailey attended the town hall and we talked one-on-one. Primarily, the agency director's issues were with the wording that it feels like SGA is not supporting the agencies. And I told her that this is more of a formal document and we cannot be biased considering that we need to get this passed by legal today and get this passed for legal review so that it can be presented to Board of Regents. And right now, this is not more important. It's as important as ensuring that their agencies feel valued. They did have an issue with the word.
I think it was will allow is one of the ones that got highlighted a couple times in the comments from Director Bailey. Or better align.
Did you say like a specific, sorry?
Will allow.
It's the. Here, I'll put that on. I think it's in this whereas clause and the one above it. It's the part of the ones that were highlighted by Director Bailey were will allow because of the implication that says that we don't think that they currently are meeting the criteria. So the like will allow, I think part of the suggestion that was made to amend that was either adding an extra whereas clause that just kind of states that we believe that they're already following the Board of Regents policy. We just would like to demonstrate that in their definition, or just changing some of the wording so that it's instead of will allow them to better align with the broad-based criteria, it's just to illustrate how they are already meeting the broad-based criteria as they're currently run. As an example.
We could change it to, because I feel like adding another whereas clause is gonna maybe like prolong like getting to the point. So we could change it to like the agencies, sorry, reading the whole thing, revise the current SGA bylaws, revising the current SGA bylaws will allow the agencies to continue to meet the broad-based criteria. But I'm not sure about like adding a whole.
Yeah, I'm kind of in
more
agreement that I
clause.
guess this is not really a question at this point. I'll make it a question at the end. I also was thinking that could just be like it could be a very simple verbiage shift of like revising the current SGA bylaws will demonstrate that the agency's ability to meet the broad-based, and then in the second part, it could just be like the following amendment demonstrates the agency's alignment with the broad-based criteria as established. Like just a couple word changes could probably make it clear that we already think that they're in the clear, but we're just like showing everyone else that we know that they already do number this 0.6. Like that's the whole point of them. We're just adding it in there to be like, hey y'all, we know what they're doing. Clearly, like we understand that they are meeting that broad base. I did agree with the fact that like if someone who has malicious intent were to read some of that verbiage, they could spin it as like, oh, well, they're saying they don't meet it already. But I agree with like the changes we've made here. So I think it's probably just like a couple words that if we shift them around, we'll just make that like, we're not adding a whereas clause. We're just kind of suggesting that we already believe that, if that makes sense. Like, does or
Yeah, that 100% makes sense. And me and Aditi were talking about this a lot over these past few weeks, because like even before her email, we were just Director Bailey's email, we were concerned about wording. And I think our biggest thing is I don't want to make it sound like we want to like just go in like ready to 100% like appease legal counsel and like bow down for like everything that they want to say and everything they want us to change. But like our really big focus is just making sure like this doesn't seem biased in any way. So they can't just turn it down and be like, oh, this, and this seems aggressive, go back and change it kind of thing. So that's like another part of it, like not wanting to make it like even longer than it needs to be, or like too wordy, or like too like too many words in there, I guess. But yeah, we definitely could, if we can do that right now, like add a few words in there. Sorry, go ahead. You've been raising your thing for a while.
That's okay.
I have an idea for a textual amendment to both whereas clauses that would focus on concision, brevity, meet the needs reflected by the agency directors, and maintain a position of, I'd say like relative impartiality in terms of the language, but also wouldn't have a secondary component that could possibly be perceived as bias. Would the authors be open to possible amendment?
Yes, yeah. Wait, sorry. Did you like actively want to say it right now, or were you just like opening up for? Oh, okay.
I'm not moving to amend it, but can I read you the verbiage that I had written down and then you can tell me how you feel about it so that we can get it? I'm not making any motions. It's technically a question. So what I had was, it's just like, I think 3 words changed per line, but it would be, whereas revising the current SGA bylaws will demonstrate the agency's current compliance with the broad-based criteria and the Board of Regents policies so they can receive Fund Day dollars or to receive Fund Day dollars. And then the next one would be, whereas the following amendment to Part 7 agencies will illustrate the agency's alignment with the broad-based criteria while maintaining their individual goals. So it really just changes like 3 words per line, but it is subtly demonstrating that we already think they're in the clear. We're just showing that they are by changing the definition. Does that make sense to y'all? Does that like still meet? Because I know you guys have been super conscientious about the legal side of it, and you also want it to be appeasing to our agencies. That's the whole point. So does that change? Do you think it's subtle enough that it will meet that middle ground, or like, what are your opinions on that change?
I would say yes. Yeah.
Period. You'll hear from me later then.
We can, let's wait until questioning is over.
Any other questions? Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I really do like that language. The only other possible permutation might be like, whereas revising the current SGA bylaws will reflect the ongoing commitment of the agencies to the broad-based criteria and the Board of Regents policies, and receipt of Fund Day dollars, I guess, would probably be the recognition. And that way you can talk about like that ongoing commitment, but not also like speak to compliance, because we are in the middle of an audit process. That's the only thing I think could come into question if we say like compliance, because I guess we're actively involved in that process of compliance as a student government entity.
Back to you when I make my action.
No, I agree. I like the phrase like ongoing commitment, a little bit over compliance. Yeah. Any more questions, concerns, general ponderings? Okay, cool. Does someone want to make a motion so we can like change this right here, right now?
Let's finish questioning and then we can like do a motion.
You have to close.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there any further questioning? All right, awesome. Thank you. Is there any discussion on the resolution? Senator Hirschbaum Harding?
I'm going to start with the motion because it'll just, I think, make it a little bit easier for us to keep going. I am motioning to change these 2 whereas clauses that we're looking at right now, just the whereas portions, to say, and I will send this to you in an email, Kevin. Whereas revising this current SGA bylaws will reflect the agency's current commitment to complying with the broad-based criteria and the Board of Regents policies to receive Fund Day dollars, and whereas the following amendment to Part 7 agencies will illustrate the agency's aim to align with the broad-based criteria while maintaining their individual goals. So it took what I said earlier and then put in some of the points that we made about wanting to not necessarily automatically say that they're complying so we don't get in legal trouble, but demonstrate that we think that that has been their aim all along. That's been the goal. That's literally the whole point of them, and doing so in a way that is a little bit more impartial so that we don't get in legal trouble. And I'm going to send you an email right now with that text if you want to put it up on the screen. So that's my motion. If anyone wants to second that bad boy in a second.
Seconded by Senator Meister.
Super seconded.
Yeah.
Seconded. Okay, I'll put the motion on the board so we're able to like discuss it.
Gonna respond to this
I'm
week's
not sure
email.
which is- Oh, yes, I can. Senator Meister.
I just wanted to thank the authors as well as any senators that have had communication with the agency directors and making sure that if we are amending any portion of the bylaws that's speaking to the agencies and any semi-autonomous governance or participation they have in the student community, that we're including their voices and being intentional about reflecting their perspectives and how textually we're talking about the work that they do every day. I just think you all are doing a really great job of being intentional about being critical with ourselves as we're talking about changes for those we represent and the work that they do. And I just wanted to say thank you.
Senator Rye.
I want to thank Senator Meister and Senator Harshbaum Harding. Senator John and I have looked at the will allow for so long, and I'll be honest, we ran out of brain power on how to fix it in a way that is reflective of what the agency directors want and what will get passed through legal counsel. So I really appreciate the help in rewording this.
Then the amendment is on the projector. Is there any further discussion on the amendment or on the motion?
Point of information, there are also a couple random like punctuation and capitalization things that I stuck in there. So just for the sake of transparency, those are also some subtle changes, but they didn't change any words. So they don't need to be highlighted.
Senator John.
Can we change the second current to ongoing, just so it's not like the same word? Sorry, that's like really.
The second one for this first one
Yeah.
to ongoing.
Oh.
So that's an amendment to the motion. Is there a second to that amendment? Senator Meister?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wait, you know. It's my fault.
I am making a revision to my current textual content. That second current is actually secretly ongoing. Yeah. I have no idea why that is.
Is there any further discussion on the motion? Senator Meister.
Please accept the revisions. Robert's rules are hard.
If there's no further discussion, now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor, please raise your placards. And then all those opposed, please raise your placards. And then in the opinion of the chair, the motion has been adopted. And then now we're on to a discussion on the resolution. Is there any discussion on the resolution? Senator Harshbaum Harding.
I'm a fan of the subtlety of this change too. I think that it's a very sly and intelligent way to have kind of demonstrated that it's like, guys, we know that the agencies are already meeting that broad-based criteria, but this is just a good way of demonstrating that legally they also are in compliance with that. I think that there has clearly been a lot of background work with our legal team and a lot of conversations. I mean, we had our town hall, all the good stuff. So I think that this is at a place where it can do a lot of good if it were to be adopted efficiently, places higher up from us. And it's a good step in the ways that we can make changes to try and get closer to getting our agencies to be refunded, because we want to do that as quickly as possible. And there's only so many things that we can do on a simply SGA level. So I think that this is a good way to try and move towards that, especially if it continues to move up the chain. And I like that there's been a lot of consideration of the things that could have halted it further up the chain. I know that that's something we discussed last time we were together as Senate. I know it's something that was put a lot of thought into before that previous Senate meeting. So I think we've gotten it to a place where I think it has a pretty darn good chance of continuing to move up as long as there aren't any weird obstacles. And I think that it makes sense to try and rectify this issue as quickly as possible.
Senator Brady.
With this resolution, I also do think, kind of piggybacking off of what Senator Hirschbaum Harding said, it also diminishes the possible risk in the near future, not near future, oh my gosh, in the future of this happening again. So if the university does even decide to pop up out of nowhere and say that certain agencies aren't meeting the quote unquote broad-based criteria, you'd be like, hey, actually they are. And so with this resolution, it kind of diminishes that risk of this ever happening in the future again.
Regent Adidam.
I just want to thank the Rules Committee for really being on top of this. I know I sent you guys an email, a really cryptic email a couple weeks back, essentially saying that if you could please get this done by the end of semester, that would be so amazing. Our bylaws are currently sitting in legal counsel waiting for this amendment so that we can get it approved and reviewed by the Board of Regents and hopefully have our bylaws be our working bylaws. And I just want to appreciate your timeliness and dedication. I know it was a lot, and the town hall guys did an amazing job just going over it, and I really do appreciate your dedication.
Senator Meister.
Just a quick note for those in the room. As we're changing the policy, this is now requesting that there's like very clear, explicit interpretation in a document in a textualized form that part 0.6 is happening. So just be conscious as we're developing future policies for like how we review budget requests, how we review purchases, different things like that, that we're not potentially putting the agencies in a position where when we're not maybe appropriately or extensively reviewing purchases, that somebody may try and utilize this textual change to take a student court case against the agencies or to like target the agencies in some specific way. I think a necessary secondary follow-up to this resolution will be necessary, like internal financial controls to make sure that the way that we're reviewing purchases doesn't put agencies in a position where something like the audit could happen again, or something like a specific targeted student court case in response to like a perceived slight relating to a purchase could potentially put a like court case where the agencies might be considered out of compliance because of some kind of like purchase issue. So it will just be important for us to be conscious about how we're also documenting purchasing, how we're supporting the agencies and realizing this within our own infrastructure as a student government, and just making sure to support them with like really intentional policy changes in other areas of our documents.
Is there any further discussion on the resolution? If there's no further discussion, now we're on to your period of voting. All those in favor, please raise your placards. And then to pass this resolution, it will require a 2/3 majority vote. And then all those opposed, please raise your placards. In the opinion of the chair, the resolution passes. Okay. So our last item of business is good of the order, and then this question is, what will people be nostalgic for in 500 years? Does anyone want to start? Senator Calapan Palacios.
Juicy suits, but like the original with juicy on the bottom and on the front of the tracksuits.
Yes, yeah.
And then we can go right. Yeah.
Fresh, clean air.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna touch on the climate too. Glaciers. Watching glaciers ablate, as like an alpine climber has been one of the saddest things I think I've ever seen. It's such a beautiful ecosystem and such a beautiful part of our planet.
Food dyes that they probably will label cancer soon.
Ugh, this might sound scary, but maybe books, just because of technology and stuff.
I don't feel like human beings are gonna be here in 500 years. And even if they are still around, I feel like it's gonna be like on Mars, like living in a dome. So maybe like planet Earth, yeah, and like not living in a dome.
Yeah, I agree with Dee Dee, and I'm gonna say trees or like plants and stuff like that.
Snapchat.
Oh, yeah.
Ditto, Snapchat.
Instagram filters.
Minecraft.
I think it's gonna live forever.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I don't know, going off of that, Roblox.
GNX by Kendrick Lamar. Keeping with the theme, I will go with gas cars.
Actually, good day, that's a yeah. No one has. So random. You guys are actually like, I love the smell of it.
Rat Panda.
I don't know. I already miss it. Littlest Pet Shop.
Time.
People are gonna like reminisce on the times when animals only had 2 eyes and they're like, dang, all these mutants with 3 eyes, like.
The what?
Fresh drinking water.
Non-automated cars.
I'm gonna keep it positive and say cool math games.
Yeah, good.
GTA 6.
DVDs. DVDs, okay.
So is there?
Wait, I started here and then keep going.
I would say like, oh my gosh, how did I word it? People writing their own papers because of ChatGPT.
I was gonna say the McDonald's snack wraps, but they're bringing them back in 2025, baby. I'm excited.
If Wingstop or Raising Cane's goes into bankruptcy, I think that everyone will be sad.
I'm gonna say the season of spring and Chapel Roan.
You're right.
Now is there a motion to close the meeting, Senator Piper, is there a second in? Rangel?
Hey, you gotta do the call.
Oh, yeah. All those in favor, please raise your.
They-
ayes. The meeting is adjourned.
No, they have.
I brought them.
You were. Everyone else was like. hard. They're going. Don't be.
Water in there.
It'll be a thing in the back. 25 on a bad start, right? Bye.
Oh, yeah. You know about that? Next week. Then we won't be able to meet the rest of the.
I think it's, it's how. I was mad about it, but they got so long. And they went, and he just slammed my finger like the knob.
So, we have.
I hope y'all have a good final season and a good break, get lots of sleep.
Right. Motion to suspend rules on executive session. That's a.
See you here.
What?
Bye, everyone.
No, you don't need to do that. That is not necessary. That's not your name. That's not your name.
Sorry for all like better. What's up?
That's a joke.
Other 9%.